What up, what up? It's the Conscious Outlet Podcast. Make sure you guys like the video. Please like the video. I'm Mirakle Monique.
And I'm Alan J.
Like for the algorithm.
Yes, like for the algorithm, please, okay? Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends, because we're discussing...
Do it now, because I know my people. Y'all will wait, and then y'all go and subscribe to somebody else who not even giving y'all this time and effort. I drove 2 hours to come here so we can come do this podcast, and our great producers and sub producers, they do a lot of work to have this camera popping behind screen, and y'all just don't know it takes time. I'm your favorite uncle, and so just do what I say and we'll be all right.
Y'all don't want to make Alan mad. He's scary when he's mad. Scary. It's me. I'm kidding. Let me not say that, because the internet will take it way too serious.
Exactly.
Let me not say that. But yes, we're discussing conspiracy theories today, y'all. And this last topic is very interesting, because we're going to be talking about why people choose to discredit God, knowing that there's evidence all around us that God is real.
Yeah.
Okay. That really is what it is. But let's get into our first Conscious Way quote. How about that?
Amidst discussions of spiritual warfare and unseen realms, let's anchor our discernment in the authority of Scripture, acknowledging the reality of both divine and demonic influences in our world. Ooh, that is heat. Who actually wrote that?
I did.
Hey.
ChatGPT did. I'm not gonna lie.
If y'all need a
it made
copyright,
it sound better.
She is the truth with that. That right there, talking about the both realms.
Yes. Acknowledging them.
Yes.
As real.
Yes. And so when you have to acknowledge that, what happens is you have to come to some end of the road, be like, you know what? I've been denying God all this time. God of the Bible, Jesus. Let me go ahead and come in his fold.
I know. I think people are scared of the idea that God might be real. I think people are scared of that. And I also think, man, I lost my train of thought. It was good too. It was good. But it has something to do with the video that we're about to watch. The video that I sent. Not the video I sent in the group, but the first video that was already in the listing.
They don't know that. But
I know. I was just explaining.
I know. Too much, but okay.
Anyway, yes. So it has something to do with that video that I can't think of right now. But oh well, it'll come back to me if it's important. So we'll talk about why it's so hard for scientists to believe in God. So, yeah.
Why do you all think that it's so hard for scientists, or even, I would say, intelligent people to actually believe in God? Is it because that they need some type of knowledge that to prove to them? But even if they do have the proof, will they still believe? It's because we are naturally sinful and we want to go against the grain instead of with the grain. Why do some people believe and some people don't? Is it because of our upbringing? Is it nature versus nurture? What is it, people? Let us know in the comments, and we will communicate with you live right now.
At this time.
Yep.
In real time. Let's look at that video.
Science is about trying to get rigorous answers to questions about how nature works. And it's a very important process that's actually quite reliable if carried out correctly, with generation of hypotheses and testing of those by accumulation of data, and then drawing conclusions that are continually revisited to be sure they're right. So if you want to answer questions about how nature works, how biology works, for instance, science is the way to get there. Scientists believe in that, and they are very troubled by a suggestion that other kinds of approaches can be taken to derive truth about nature. And some, I think, have seen faith as therefore a threat to the scientific method and therefore to be resisted. But faith in its proper perspective is really asking a different set of questions. And that's why I don't think there needs to be a conflict here. The kinds of questions that faith can help one address or more in the philosophical realm. Why are we all here? Why is there something instead of nothing? Is there a God? Isn't it clear that those aren't scientific questions and that science doesn't have much to say about them? But you either have to say, well, those are inappropriate questions and we can't discuss them, or you have to say we need something besides science to pursue some of the things that humans are curious about. For me, that makes perfect sense. But I think for many scientists, particularly for those who have seen the shrill pronouncements from extreme views that threaten what they're doing scientifically and feel, therefore, that they can't really include those thoughts into their own worldview, faith can be seen as an enemy. And similarly, on the other side, some of my scientific colleagues who are of an atheist persuasion are sometimes using science as a club over the head of believers, basically suggesting that anything that can't be reduced to a scientific question isn't important, and it just represents superstition and it should be gotten rid of. Part of the problem is, I think the extremists have occupied the stage. Those voices are the ones we hear. I think most people are actually kind of comfortable with the idea that science is a reliable way to learn about nature, but it's not the whole story. And there's a place also for religion, for faith, for theology, for philosophy. But that harmony perspective doesn't get as much attention. Nobody's as interested in harmony as they are in conflict, I'm afraid.
Let's pause there, actually. So that was really interesting. I don't know I say that about every video, but we chose some interesting videos. So, but yeah, he said a lot there as far as like the harmony between faith and fact, you know, and how a lot of scientists will try to dismiss any questions that really pertain to the faith side of things because they can't be reduced to a scientific question that can possibly be answered, which is which relates to what I said about how people might fear that there might be a God because that means there's something they don't know or something they can't figure out, because you just can't figure out God. He gave you the instructions for your life, but God didn't give you all the inner workings of how he works or everything about how he thinks, because, you know, our thoughts are not his thoughts and our ways are not his ways. And so the concept of that to maybe a lot of scientists, that there's things out there in the universe that we might never have an explanation for because it's simply too big of an idea. God is that too big of an idea to conceptualize to our human understanding. And that's kind of how I felt about the Trinity for a long time as a human, because I had to basically understand that I won't fully understand it and be okay with that. And because I'm so analytical and logical in my mind, it was kind of like me pushing my natural way of thinking. And so I'm guessing it's maybe the same process for a lot of scientists.
Yeah, but in regards to the Trinity, I can help you understand it.
No, I'm okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think he said a lot of great things in regards to just you basically the natural versus the spiritual, and it's almost like a quote that I was just thinking about. A big God, but a small world. And so I think once it's us as human beings, we want to control any and every aspect of what we feel like we can control. Like, hey, if I do this equation, it's going to give me this outcome.
Yeah.
And so, of course, this whole world was made on law. So, hey, if I go and smack the police that's actually directing traffic, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to go to jail because I just assaulted someone. But hey, that's a law. But in you know,
law.
yeah. But in other cases, on a, I guess a more serious note, there are things that is unexplainable. Like when even the lady that we met at the baby shower last week, she said that the doctor told her that she wasn't going to be able to have,
You're right.
kids, and she was taking these steroids in order to help her have a kid. Now, she thinks, because I was saying in my head, I was like, she thinks that it was the steroids that actually, helped her. But I would like to say it was her faith, and also maybe the faith
Yes.
that maybe her husband has. It's because we went from, like, she was like, yeah, it was this. And I was like, yeah, I said, yeah, it was probably God. And then it was so crazy in that moment. Not even Miracle know what I was doing. I was swaying her to say, hey, this is a thing that's outside of the natural. That was a supernatural phenomenon. You were barren.
Yeah.
And so,
Because isn't she a little older too?
she was, she definitely was older. Yeah.
You're so funny.
I'm not even trying to be funny.
I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so me hearing that, I'm like, hey, in itself, God manifested himself in a blessing, miracle, however you want to, say it. But some people may choose to overlook it is because it's happening in the natural, but it had to happen in the spiritual before anything, anything materialized. For that kid to come, I can get down to some DNA, stuff, talking about how powerful it is to actually create a kid, and like there is a explosion that happens inside of a woman's womb. There's a beam of light that happens once that sperm hits that egg, and so there are so many things that there are so many things on how God reflects himself and shows himself in nature. And so
That's so true.
Yeah, it's just like what I've said before. In a mighty oak tree, it was once a seed. So inside of every little seed, it was a mighty oak tree that stands above 40 feet and spreads as wide as eagles and wings and all of that stuff. But yeah.
No, that is so true, because so are you saying, like, did she hesitate a little bit when you mentioned God being the source of it?
She did, but because I'm that guy and I'm that man.
You are who you are.
Exactly.
So yeah, exactly.
I wanted her to know, like, this is where I stand. But
she kind of like, yeah,
exactly. And that shows me that she has the mind to actually open up herself to Christ, but either she don't want to go halfway, or the word hasn't touched her yet.
Good point.
And
Very good point.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Do you think her, or just in general, do you think we do things as an expression of our faith? So like her taking the steroids, do you think she was being faithful in doing that? Because
I do.
There's things that we often do, like even the miracle with the people that had leprosy. Jesus told them to walk, and then as they were walking, that's how they began to heal. And I think oftentimes the mistake we make as Christians is we believe that this belief in the air is having faith, but having faith is actually an expression of, it's expressed through our actions, right? So, for instance, you show that you are faithful to your spouse by having fidelity in your actions.
Yes.
And when you break that faithfulness is when you have infidelity, when you step out on them, when you step out of the boundaries that have been established. And so I said that to say that, do you believe that we can do things that express our faithfulness in what we ask God for.
Yes, I mean 1,000%, and I mean I didn't even just think about that that perspective at that time.
I've heard you say very similar things, like about the way we express our faith through, like you always give the chair example, how I believe this chair is going to hold me up that I'm sitting in. You know, I don't expect it to break. I mean, I don't. I expect me to just sit right here, and I have the faith that it'll hold my weight up. You know, so
and I would say in regards to what Mr. Prophet was saying, as far as that expression of taking that step, I think I actually think she definitely exemplified it, but she probably didn't know that it was a faith-based thing.
Yeah.
Just like hold on, I'm trying to remember.
Go ahead.
I don't think, because I was thinking about Sarah, but I don't think Sarah did anything about, because she was older. She was like, hey, I'm in.
The one that laughed because God told her, or was it God that told her or an angel? Oh, God. One of them told her that she was going to have a baby, and she laughed. Was that Sarah?
Sarah.
That was Sarah.
Yeah, with Abraham.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was Abraham.
And God was like, why are you laughing?
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, oops. Because it was funny. You telling me I'm going to have a baby and I'm old and barren. Like, you know, showing her lack of faith.
Yeah. Yeah, but to answer your question,
moment.
I definitely think that was a expression. And I think as we were talking, she was like, maybe God is.
Look at
Or
you
play the
planting
role,
seeds.
but yeah, I mean, if it does, it does. But I have to proclaim, him
Absolutely.
amongst the world, because I mean that's what we're supposed to do. That's what I want to do. That's the thing. So
Yeah, I think humans in general, like, I think we express our faith in so many different ways every single day. Like, of course, with the air, sitting down or walking into our house, walking to our car, locking our car door. Like,
reading the word, that's a great expression.
Yeah. But even just like the minute things, like, just expecting to breathe air, just expecting the air to be there and having faith that, we have air to breathe. And so things like that. But I think in general, it's so contradictory to the fact that, but we also, as humans, we love to know things and we love to know everything, which is, I mean, that's how the fall happened, right? Eve was tempted to know more, to know what God knows. And I mean, I think we get tempted with that. I think I definitely was at one point, wanting to know what God knows, because that's infinite knowledge. Like, so of course you're kind of tempted in that arena to kind of see what you can learn and do with that knowledge. But in reality, it's like, can you really handle it all? Because what would you do with it anyway? And then you do have to be comfortable with not knowing everything, because God didn't give you access to everything. He gave you dominion over the earth, but that's not access to everything that is in existence, or not in existence yet, or spiritual realm.
Yeah.
You don't know everything about that either, or how the angels work, how angels become angels, or, things like that, or even, as we talk about conspiracy theories, like the reason conspiracy theories are even a thing is because we have that drive to know things.
that is true.
And so we're willing to know what isn't known. And so that's kind of the point there. So,
Okay. And I think that we have another video.
We do. That kind of touches on more the demonic aspect of things.
Exactly.
I don't know. What kind of video is it?
Yeah, it's finna touch on the creepy and crawlies that's gonna give you maybe a little.
Oh my
nightmare.
gosh.
But it
like
ain't gonna be bad. Let's go ahead and drop this
Look
video.
at that other one.
The other video, yeah.
Number 4, the film's production literally needed an exorcist.
Father Tom Birmingham was in the film and was the technical advisor.
There have been rumors that The Exorcist was cursed. While working on the film, a carpenter lost a thumb and a lighting technician lost one of his toes.
How do you go about getting an exorcism? Beg your pardon?
A fire burned down a large part of the set, which we'll get to later. To counter such eerie events, Friedkin asked Reverend Thomas Birmingham, a Jesuit priest who served as a technical advisor for the film and played the character Tom, to perform an exorcism.
I'll work with you then on one condition, that you take it seriously. I don't want another Rosemary's Baby. I want somebody that really will confront the awesome problem of the evil in God's world.
Believing such a ritual unnecessary, Reverend Birmingham declined the request, but later performed a blessing on the cast and the set. Guess it wasn't an excellent day for an exorcism.
It was an excellent day for an exorcism.
Number 3. The film is based on real-life events, sort of.
The fictional story of The Exorcist can be traced back to some real-life events that happened in 1949.
If you were disturbed by The Exorcist, at least you could say it was only a movie, right? Not so fast.
And in class, I heard some details about a so-called case of possession and an exorcism that was going on in somewhere nearby.
The movie was actually based on William Peter Blatty's 1971 novel, which was partly based on the 1949 case of a 14-year-old boy from Maryland who was reportedly possessed.
What we do know is that for a period of about 3 months, a 14-year-old boy who'd grown up in this area and had been experimenting with a Ouija board underwent some form of illness that caused his personality to change, caused welts and lettering to appear on his body, and apparently caused some poltergeist activity.
The boy was taken to St. Louis, Missouri, where a group of priests performed exorcisms on him at both a relative's home and a hospital, with the rituals lasting for weeks.
You heard the story. Same thing here.
Much like in the movie, the bed the child was in shook as he convulsed. And according to the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, the child also allegedly spit a foul substance at the priest during one exorcism. Number 2, most of the set burned down because of a freak accident.
In my 32 years of making films, I've never had a set burned down.
One of the biggest setbacks to production was a fire that burned down the house where the film is set.
It burns! Oh, it burns!
The fire was supposedly caused by a bird that flew directly into a circuit box. However, the weird part is the only room that didn't burn in the fire was Reagan's room. Makes you wonder how that room of all places was spared, doesn't it? Could it be Satan?
They couldn't find an electrical problem. They couldn't find an arsonist. They couldn't find any substantial reason that occurred.
Because of the fire, the film's production had to delay filming for 6 weeks.
Then Friedkin called me and said, would you come down?
So, my people, that was a lot. And so, there is so much in just what we just saw. They had like some quotations around some stuff like, hey, it was supposedly this, and and this was documented in a local newspaper, in a local journal. And so we talk about spirit and we talk about natural. So natural is what we see, what we can feel, taste, and all of that. The spirit is what is manifested in the other realm. And so you can't deny, like, okay, we believe in, just like we were saying earlier, we believe in maybe quote unquote evil spirit or, some weird activity going on. People like to put it in a little box. Yeah, it was just weird and we just don't want to deal with that. We don't want that. No.
And write it off as something else. Right?
There's some information that I end up going behind the scenes, and I found out. So one of the actors, one of the producers, son all of a sudden had passed away after a year of filming this. And first he was starting to get in trouble, and then he ended up committing suicide. A lot of weird things end up happening while filming this.
You said that was the producer's son?
Yeah. And then there's a lot of frequent, things or sporadic things happen. Like prime example, they said that the set got burnt up, every room but the room that they played the movie in.
That's crazy.
Like that room that they kind of did the exorcism. So ugh. in itself, so if people don't believe that it's real, why would they go out to a priest to kind of bless the set? If you don't believe,
Right.
oh, it's just folklore.
That is so true.
So we believe in everything else, but we won't believe in
until we need it.
Yeah.
Think about it, because that's how it really is in like all those movies. Like there's an older movie, not older. Well, yeah, it's older because it's like 10 years old by now. There's a movie called Drag Me to Hell.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I used to love that movie. I don't know why I love that movie. I that was like one of the only semi-paranormal movies that I ever really sat and watched, and I kind of liked it. Basically, it was a woman who, worldly woman. She was a working career woman, and she didn't have any spiritual connection, whatever, to anything. Basically, she had a demon attached to her because she basically did something wrong to this old woman, and the old woman cursed her. So now she had this demon on her, and she was going to die in like 3 days unless she, unless she got the demon out of her. It was like stalking her or something. And it was like, so basically what happened is, so she was against all that spiritual stuff. She wasn't a believer. She didn't care about none of it. She didn't even care how she treated the old woman until it mattered, until the stalking got worse. Because with each day that passes with this specific demon, each day would be worse. And it would torture you until the very end, where you're going to be tortured for an eternity. Yeah. And so as it continued to get worse, she didn't see a need for anybody to help her until it got to the point where she was like, okay, I have no other choice but to put my faith in Jesus. Like, that's crazy. Yeah. Because she called the exorcist, the Catholic priest. Mm-hmm. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool,
yeah.
Cool.
I say that to say, like, when it comes to it's like what you were saying, when it comes to things like that, we choose to believe in God when it benefits us, and when we know we have no other choice but to do it.
Yeah, that's definitely something that we should just pay attention to in ourselves. Another thing that I wanted to get to in there is that one of the main things that they said of how that portal was open. The kid was playing with a Ouija board back in the 60s and 70s. Walmart used to actually sell Ouija boards.
I saw those back
in
the
day. I'm quite sure that they knew that it wasn't just a game. You're opening up portals of some sort, or like a different realm that could actually attach itself to you and people in your vicinity. I can give the example, and this is a real life example. I'll take off my glasses right here. My mom told me when she was pregnant with me, my auntie, her friend, they were playing with a Ouija board in the next room. And my mom was like, y'all need to stop that. Y'all need to, whatever. So mom saying they, moving around the thing, and the man was telling them on how he died and blase. So yeah, the game may be teaching you how to play it, but they teach you how to play, meaning that you opening up something, but you don't know how to close it. So my mom said when she was, pregnant with me, she said she would sleep. Either she would sleep or she was up. But basically she had another version of what we spoke about earlier, was a sleep paralysis. And then she said that it was a dark figure over her, and it basically, the way that she was feeling was it basically like had its hand on her stomach when she was pregnant with me, and was trying to basically take me or whatever. And then she said she prays like, oh Jesus help me, please, oh Jesus help me. And then she said she finally had got up, and then she was like, look, you need to throw that thing away, burn it, don't do this no more, blah blah blah. And so even just telling that story, it kind of brings a little chill over me, is because that's something like,
I didn't know this.
Yeah, like people we may give examples on things, but when it happens to someone that it's like, so is my mama lying? Is she trying to scare me? No, that I could see stuff like that happening. Because I know that if it's, of course, good spirit, there are, bad spirits. And I never fooled around with no stuff like that. But at the same time, hey, you got to be careful of whatever you open it up. And that's, pretty much it when it comes to that. Like, just go back and watch the video. Like, a lot of freak accidents happen on that set. And, people think that it's a conspiracy that, certain things happen. Or freak accidents. I want to say on the set of The Exorcist, I think it was like, I ain't gonna say the most recent one, but one of those big lights fell down on somebody and killed them. And I'm like, that's
why do they keep making these movies if these things keep happening? That's like insanity, because insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And that's basically what they're doing. They keep making these movies and expecting no weird stuff to go on. It's because they claim they don't believe it. But people play with Ouija boards and they do the Bloody Mary thing in the mirror, and they do remember the Charlie?
Well, I never did the Charlie. We had the Candyman thing.
Well, yeah, exactly. They do these things because they want to see what's going to happen. Because a part of them believes something's going to happen.
Yeah.
But a bigger part believes or hopes that nothing will.
Yeah, it's just like to play with fire. Yeah,
exactly.
It's almost like when we talk about, I wonder what would happen if a real zombie apocalypse happened. I wonder would we be able to survive it?
I know, and that's why I gotta stop talking about it before I start speaking one into existence.
All right.
So yeah, exactly. Did you have any final thoughts on that one?
Nope, that is it.
Ooh, that's it. We had a good time with this topic.
Yes. And it's more to come, and we're going to be developing even more, getting more deeper to the word, so we can be able to bring you the best information as possible, and help change some lives for the better.
Amen. Make sure you always use wisdom and discernment and stay in your word. Remember, this was just for fun, okay? Do not get bogged down in details, because in reality, none of it matters. All right. So thank you guys. I'm Mirakle Monique.
I'm Alan J.
This has been the Conscious Outlet Podcast, and we'll see you next time.